Mr. Speaker, House Bill 778, a bill to amend the code regime related to legislative electronic information system, recorded from rules on February the 11th with a substitute.
Gentleman Fairfax, Mr. Lemunion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the committee substitute.
Questions on adoption of the committee substitutes? Those in favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Substitutes agreed to. Gentleman Fairfax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this legislation addresses a matter related to the openness and transparency of government, in particular the ease with which citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia may access voting records of members of the House of Delegates and the other body. Legislative Services maintains an excellent website that makes available considerable information regarding actions taken by the House and the other body. In particular, the website permits information to be retrieved about any bill or resolution, including its history and recorded votes, simply by typing in the bill number. What the website is not configured to do is retrieve voting records by member name. Voting records of members may be ascertained on the website only by searching individually each bill that's received a recorded vote. This requires looking up bills one by one in order to determine how a particular member voted. I think, as we all know, we consider more than 1,000 bills in a given session, and so it is very difficult for citizens of the Commonwealth to obtain a member's voting record on the General Assembly website. HB 778 would provide that voting records be organized on the website by member name in addition to bill number. I'd like to point out that the legislation does not create any new record-keeping requirements. The legislation only relates to the manner in which voting records are retrieved on the website and would take effect for the 2011 session. I'd like to acknowledge the Chief Co-Patron, Delegate Keem, thank him for his assistance, the clerk and his staff for their advice in this process. And Mr. Speaker, I hope it would not jeopardize the bill's prospects to point out that all 20 first-term members of the House of Delegates have signed on as among the 50 co-patrons on the bill. Mr. Speaker, many of us often recall the well-known words of Thomas Jefferson that whenever the people are well-informed, they can be trusted with their own government. House Bill 778 affords us the opportunity to reaffirm our confidence in Mr. Jefferson's words, and I hope it would be the pleasure of the body to engross the bill and on to its third reading.
Gentleman Fairfax, Mr. Keene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the bill.
Gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I just wanted to recognize my colleague gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Lemunion, for his leadership on this. In fact, it's interesting that I want to underscore the fact that all 20 of our freshman class on both sides of the aisle signed on to this bill, and it was Mr. Lemunion's idea from the orientation session that we start by setting a tone of bipartisanship on the early start. So I want to recognize him for that, and I also wanted to just emphasize once again, to the extent that any members of the body have some concerns, that we're not creating any new responsibilities. What we're trying to do is sort the information that's already out there so that the members of the public who expect transparency from us, who expect accountability from us, will have just a little bit easier time to be able to track what we're doing here. As we can see on a day like today, when we have a long session with hundreds of bills that we're considering, it's really hard for our folks back home to consider what we're doing on a regular basis. So to the extent that this bill will help us provide that transparency, that's why I want to ask for the support. And the final note is to just thank the Speaker and the Minority Leader for working with us in the Rules Committee to bring us to this point. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, House Bill 778, a bill relating to the legislative electronic information system, publication of voting records.
Shall the bill pass? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 86, noes 13.
Ayes 86, noes 13. The bill is passed.